Now, I've pretty much ignored this adolescence tripe because I could see it for the blatant bit of bullshit propaganda it was. Shit, even the missus spotted it was total horse crap when she heard about it, but she actually went on to watch it. Her review from my memory was to call it the most boring bit of crap she's watched in a while. She said the acting was okay, but the plot was pure bollocks, and by the fourth episode, watching paint dry would have been more fun. She also pointed out that the show should really be about online bullying at school, considering that the girl who was killed had been bullying the boy that killed her online before it all happened. Which was the same thing I actually thought when I read a bit of the plot online, but the show is not really the focus of this video. Because instead we need to shit on the scumbag BBC and its deluded host that clearly had an agenda to push yesterday when talking to Tory tosspot Kemi Badenoch. Watch this.
Lessons yet?
No, I haven't. I probably won't. It's a film on Netflix, and most of my time right now is spent visiting the country.
It's a four-part series on Netflix, and everyone is talking about it. It is prompting conversations about toxic masculinity, smartphone use, young men feeling that they're being ignored, the idea of misogyny being increased in school. Why would you not want to know what people are talking about?
Well, I think that those are all important issues, and those were issues that I've been talking about for a long time. But in the same way that I don't need to watch Casualty to know what's going on in the NHS, I don't need to watch a specific Netflix drama to understand what's going on. It's a fictional series. It is not a documentary. What I've been talking about recently, for instance, is banning smartphones in schools. I've been going to schools all around the country. I was in Evesham just yesterday, talking to head teachers, talking to the students, and they talk about the problems that phones are causing.
The difference this documentary has made compared to, say, a politician, any politician, leader of a party, the Prime Minister, going around talking in schools, is this has made much more of an impact than any politician has in terms of what people are talking about right now. So it's really confusing that you don't want to know why, how this has made an impact, how parents are now saying we need to know more about smartphone use.
I can read what people are saying about it. I look at research. This is something that I've been looking at.
Now, despite me not liking Kemi Badenoch in the slightest, I've got to be honest in saying she dealt with that total bullshit pretty well and actually exposed the pure stupidity of what the BBC tried to pull here. In fact, her comparing watching this to watching Casualty to learn about medical shit was a great analogy to use because it sums up the pure stupidity of what the BBC are saying. Shit, she even points out the fact it's a fictional drama like Heartbeat or the fucking Magic Roundabout, one of which was made by people tripping balls on all sorts of drugs, let's never forget. Of course, her calling it a fictional drama really pissed off Naga Munshi, who still tried to call it a documentary before lying that everyone's talking about this shit. When I promise you right now, outside of the internet, absolutely no one's talking about it because they could see it was a bit of fictional drama like fucking Star Wars. In fact, the royal response there was a blatant bit of misinformation, but Kemi Badenoch finishes up by pointing out something relating to the girls being preyed on that the BBC don't like to talk about.
For a long time.
You wouldn't want to know straight from the horse's mouth.
One of the things that I'm more bothered by is the fact that just yesterday we had Labour telling us that they're not going to be investigating the rape gang scandal, something which had happened all across the country. That's real. That's happening right now. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a fictional documentary.
Do you think you're...
We had thousands of... If I may just finish. We had thousands of victims. Female victims, those are girls, young women, and some boys too. I met the mother of a boy who killed himself after being a victim. I want to talk about that because that is real. And yes, I'm glad that the Netflix drama is something that people are talking about, but it is not the only thing. There are many other things that are going on. And my job as opposition leader is to hold the government to account, get them to hold a full national inquiry on what is one of the biggest scandals in our country.
Now that there is how you shit all over the BBC pushing the fake we care about girls bollocks in the best way possible. Because let's never forget the BBC want you to shut up about these poor girls for the sake of diversity, don't they? Just like Labour do. But her pointing out that though really has them by the balls because the victims of real crimes are the only ones that matter when it's a choice between fake crime dramas and the reality of life. In fact, shouldn't the BBC be demanding their Free Girls documentaries is shown in schools and all that, since it's far more important and true to real life than this crap was? Obviously, though, the BBC are here to push the propaganda regardless of anything else, as are the other media outlets like LBC and Nick Ferrari, who essentially did the same thing the other day.
A leading politician such as yourself, not to be in tune with what a lot of people are talking about, that's almost a dereliction of duty, some would suggest.
Yeah, the same guy who wanted people fined for not getting the jab. What a total tosspot, just like Naga Munshi and that Charlie tosspot with her. But I think it's clear to see that they need to get out of their media bubbles and realise no one's buying this propaganda bullshit, and the Tory trout talking about it won't change that. In fact, all the BBC have managed here is to make themselves look like clowns, which, let's be honest, they do all the bloody time.
Pandemic